Chapter, 1967, the 50th anniversary of the Bolshevik Revolution. The march ends. Festivities begin. Festivities to conclude the largest military maneuvers in the history of the Red Army.
Солдатам тебе народ передает ракету.
This is the Soviet soldiers' oath of service. It is considered an honor to read it, to become a full-fledged soldier. When you become a soldier and start on that long road, don't be a boy doing military duty. Be a man. Be a man. And in the Red Army, you are a man. Tough, well-trained, disciplined, highly motivated. On September night, 1967, the forces of the Prikarpatsky, Belaruski, and certain other military districts, in preparation for the maneuvers Operation Nefer, are ordered to move. The mobilization also includes airborne landing forces and anti-aircraft defense forces of the Soviet Union. The battle will pit Eastern forces against Western forces. For those who move cross-country, it is necessary to move their positions at night. These powerful pieces of equipment are actually quite mobile and easy to handle. Aloft are Soviet aircraft, providing cover for the ground troops as part of the field commander's forces. The alert extends into the hardened underground silos of the Soviet Icbm arsenal. With a range of 3,000 to 5,000 miles, these intercontinental ballistic missiles are capable of striking the United States. And as part of the Soviet defense system against other nations' ICBMs, thousands of radar antennas stand perpetual watch. On land, on sea, in the freezing snows of the Siberian Arctic, in the torrid sands of the Turkestan desert, the screens keep turning. A whole generation of Russians has grown up under their protective shadow. Another defensive system is the powerful strategic force, the Red Navy. The Soviet submarine fleet is the world's largest, over 350 undersea craft, all of them built since the end of World War II. These are diesel-powered attack subs, quick, highly maneuverable, deadly. The Soviet Union's first atomic submarine. Its name, Super Nautilus. Its capability, to circumnavigate the globe without surfacing. Today, 1 in every 7 Soviet subs is nuclear-powered. A Kinder-class missile cruiser, followed by 2 Kashin-class frigates. The smaller Kashin is armed with surface-to-air missiles named Goa. The Kinda carries a particularly deadly surface-to-surface missile, the Shadow. Range about 400 miles. She also fires the Goa surface-to-air missile with a range of from 10 to 20 nautical miles. The first Soviet warship with a surface-to-surface missile was the Krupny-class destroyer. The shape, the armament of the Soviet warship has changed radically. But a Russian saying of an earlier time still holds true. Steel, armor, sea of fire. A naval air patrol under command of the fleet commander supports the Soviet fleet. The Bear naval reconnaissance aircraft is a modified bomber. The Badger carries the deadly cruise missile, the Kennel, guided to its surface target from the aircraft. Refueling operations keep Soviet strategic bombers airborne. Giant domes on the Moss early warning aircraft extend the range of the Soviet radar system. Computers perform thousands of operations per second, spotting the target almost instantaneously and determining its exact coordinates. The Soviets have learned to use rocket boosters to aid takeoff. They have developed a swing wing aircraft, a plane, as they call it, with wings of variable geometry. Air-to-air guided missiles reach targets as accurately as anything in the U.S. arsenal. The Soviet Union's ground-based surface-to-air missiles compare favorably with the American Nike as an anti-aircraft defense weapon. Modern Soviet submarines are now equipped to fire intercontinental ballistic missiles from below the ocean surface, designed to complement the massive land-based Icbm arsenal. The scenario is defense against an attack by the Western forces. The forces of the East approach the location of the exercise. They expect to make contact at the Dnieper River. In the command post, technicians work with electronic communication equipment as modern as any in the world. Commanding officers are in full, instantaneous contact with the forces in the field, down to the regimental level. Each individual fighting man is fully informed as to his duties. Thorough orientation aims to keep opportunities for confusion to a minimum. Reconnaissance aircraft join the exercise to perform functions similar to those of our recon aircraft. Forward air controllers relay the command. Fighter bombers lift off. Latest MiG-21s provide close air support for infantry and tanks as the Western forces attack. Heavy artillery. The mobile ground-to-ground frog missile. It plays a similar role to that of the Honest John rockets of the American Army. Also taking the field are mobile surface-to-air missiles, the Guideline SA-2s of the U-2 and Cuba fame. Artillery rockets are launched electronically. Data is processed at the control panel. Commanding Operation Dnieper is Marshal of the Soviet Union Grechko, Minister of Defense for the USSR. Further evidence of its importance is the presence of generals of the Supreme Command of the Soviet Armed Forces and of their guests, military delegations from friendly armies. October morning, 8 o'clock. The exercise begins. A salvo of howitzers, the M1938 122 millimeters, counterpart of the US 105 millimeter M102. Eastern aircraft joined the battle. A massive tank assault spearheads the eastern counterattack. T-62, among the most modern Soviet tanks, are equivalent to the US M-60. The older T-55 is between the American M-48 and M-60 in time of development. It can fire accurately even while on the move. Fighter jets of mixed vintage provide cover for the ground forces against hostile aircraft. The massive tank force presses on relentlessly. It is impossible, even from a helicopter, for the unaided eye to take in the whole range of the attack. The eastern forces regain lost territory. The commander of the Western forces, Colonel General Bicharin, orders a counterattack in an effort to regain lost positions. Operating under broad air cover, Western ground forces continue the thrust. But the forces of the East are superior. The counterattack is stopped. The Eastern counteroffensive regains its momentum. West abandons the field. It will attempt its stand at the Dnieper River. The East presses ahead. The Eastern Command smells victory. It decides to cross the Dnieper by force. The Dnieper rises in White Russia and flows through Ukraine to the Black Sea. It plays a dominant role in Russian military history. Many key battles have been fought on its banks. Rivers make good lines of defense. The Western strategy is to stand firm all along the bank. This time, the battle will be without bloodshed. The objective is preparedness and perhaps a message to the rest of the world. In the last war, artillery fire might thunder on for hours. Today, simultaneous bombardment from rocket guns and aircraft can soften an opponent in minutes. The line of defense is exposed. Across the Dnieper, the command rings through the eastern ranks. To the left bank. Heavy air support covers the crossing. Men and armor swarm across the water. T-54 and 55 tanks, mainstays of the Soviet ground forces. The BRDM armed amphibious scout vehicles. A PT-76 light amphibious tank convoys a fleet of personnel carriers. Infantry assault forces cross in the BTR-60P armored personnel carrier, 16 men in each vehicle. Because this is a wheeled